A KSL Sports presentation. Game Night Live kicks off now. Sponsored by UCCU.
Now we turn our attention to high school football. The regular season now 1/3 done.
Can you believe it? The number of undefeated teams, that is shrinking by the weekend all across the state. And on Friday, we had some heavyweight matchups in week 4.
Yeah, let's start with one of those. It includes Bingham and number 2 ranked Skyridge. The Falcons are the defending 6A champs and certainly playing like it. Their average margin of victory in their first 3 games, 25 points.
Yeah, Bingham did find something on Friday night, though. They gave Skyridge their first scare of the season.
Here's how it went down. Skyridge did jump out to a 14-0 lead. And it looked like another Skyridge blowout. Jackson Stevens to Trent Call, 43 yards for a touchdown. After a Bingham score, Stevens is going to find La'Akea Kalama for a 17-yard touchdown. It was 21-7 Skyridge. Bingham cuts into that lead just before the half. Arona Kaili'i to Tristan Brimhall on 4th down. The Skyridge lead cut to 7. But Skyridge answers with a long drive just before the half, capped by this Trevin McClellan touchdown, 13 yards, 28-14 at the half. Bingham would own the third quarter. 2 Carson Sudbury touchdowns, back from injury. After that Lone Peak game, we're tied at 28. But in the fourth quarter, Stevens and Call connect again. 63 yards for the score. That is your game winner. Skyridge wins a thriller, 35-28.
Olympus was hosting West in their Region 6 opener. After a West field goal, Caden Lloyd for Olympus jump starts this game. Back on the return for the kick, and he takes it to the house. A 90-yard return. Olympus had an 18-6 lead at the half. West does have a comeback up their sleeve, though. Isaiah Suisui to Chachi Pan for the touchdown, 18-13. Then in the fourth quarter, Suisui buying time, and then finding Luceni Fifita for the 21-yard go-ahead score. West get the win by a point, 19-18.
Westlake taking on Harriman. Harriman gets on the board with a 3-yard touchdown. Frederick Ta'aitu, the receiver, 7-0 Mustangs. Later in the third, Holden McKell with a 35-yard pick 6. And it's 14-0 Harriman. Go to the fourth quarter after that. Bryson Sweeney finds Caden Hansen for a 47-yard touchdown, 24-0 Harriman. And Harriman gets the win, 27-0.
The Mountain Ridge Sentinels have outscored their opponents 125-55 through 3 games this season. All of those, of course, wins. And at 3-0, they're in first place in Region 2. But Friday night, their toughest contest yet this season, Mountain Ridge was on the road against Lone Peak. And in the first quarter, Lone Peak on the move. Jackson Blake to Seth Haskett over the middle. 25-yard touchdown. Lone Peak leads 10-0 after 1 quarter. Cue the Mountain Ridge defense to spark a bit of a comeback. Wyatt Bingham explodes up the middle, sacks Blake. The ball is loose, and Tanner DeYoung scoops it up, goes back for the 6. Now, it was tied at halftime, but the Mountain Ridge defense would shut out Lone Peak in the second half, and they get a second defensive score in the game from DeYoung. A 90-yard pick 6. Mountain Ridge is 4-0 with the 31-17 win.
Corner Canyon and Farmington put on quite a show in last year's 6A semifinal at Rice-Eccles Stadium. On Friday, they met again in Farmington, but under much different circumstances. The Phoenix off to a surprising 0-3 start. Corner Canyon dealing with injuries, including starting quarterback Isaac Wilson. He had surgery Monday to remove a bone fragment from his knee, but look at this. He played, and he looked more than healthy. Throws a strike to Tate Care. Got some help from his running back, Brighton Brady. He was terrific in the run game for the Chargers. He scored 3 times in the game. This is a 34-yard touchdown run. And this toss by Isaac Wilson is perfection. This is why Utah wants him to run the show up at Rice-Eccles Stadium here in a couple years. Big gain, 37 yards to Boston Snow, set up another Corner Canyon touchdown. Wilson to Care again. Zach Wilson supporting his younger brother. He was in attendance. Chargers win 42-3. Let's go to St. George. Pineview hosting Desert Hills. Desert Hills quarterback Bo Wall connects with Titan Mason for a 10-yard score. He was just getting started. More on him in a moment. Riker May gets involved in the run game, too. A 5-yard touchdown gives the Thunder a 28-7 lead. Pineview trying to rally. David Beckstrand, pick 6. But too much Titan Mason. He had another huge game. This is another touchdown. He had 5 touchdowns overall. Desert Hills wins big before their big game against Crimson Cliffs on Friday.
I asked a friend of mine who went to Viewmont High School to describe the rivalry between Viewmont and Bountiful. He said, quote, literal bragging rights on the line. The two schools split Bountiful City down the middle. Friday night, the rivalry lived up to the hype once again. It was a back-and-forth game, and we'll just take it straight to the fourth quarter where Bountiful is trailing 21-15, 8 minutes to play. Emerson Galeman runs it in. Redhawks take the 22-21 lead. Viewmont goes airborne to get back in it. Darren Tovey to a diving Dres Jensen. Then those two cap off the drive with a 23-yard touchdown connection, and Viewmont's on top 27-22. Bountiful would drive downfield again, though, and they would end up getting into the end zone to take the lead, and the Redhawks get that win by a point, 28-27.
Another thriller, East visiting Alta. Start of the second quarter, East, Nunu Fanua punches it into the end zone. Leopards are up 7-0 at that point. Just before the end of the first half, Alta's Matt McKay escapes the rush, and he's going to find Wyatt Johnson. What a throw. Woo! 23-yard touchdown ties the game. 6 seconds left in the game. East drives down the field, 37 yards for the win. Lucas Vizna puts it right up through the uprights. East wins 10-7, Alta's first loss of the season.
Provo opening up Region 8 play with a dominant win over Salem Hills on Friday. In the first quarter, up 7. Soakai Aston goes deep to a wide-open Kyle Larson. That's an 80-yard touchdown. Provo's up 14-0. Second quarter, Lesa takes his second touchdown of the game in from 20 yards, and the route is on. Later in the first half, Aston and Larson hook up for the second time in the game, and Provo pitches the shutout, 35-0.
Undefeated Copper Hills hosting Hunter. Hunter's Jared Chase comes down with a highlight catch. This game was all Wolverine offense, highlighted by Denyon Paella. 5-yard touchdown run in the third quarter, part of a 4-touchdown performance for Hunter. They hand Copper Hills their first loss, 33-15.
All right, Green Canyon, they started the season 3-0, facing a 3A Morgan team that has played all 4 of its games so far against 4A teams. In the second quarter, Morgan building a lead, though. The screen pass from Beck Sheffield to Tate Nelson. This is going to go the distance, 55 yards for a 14-0 lead. Green Canyon on the comeback trail. 8-yard touchdown just before the half cuts the lead to 8. Then Peyton Wilson connects deep with Hayden Schramm. That would set up a short touchdown to make it 14-12. Then in the final 3 minutes, Caleb Butterfield from 35 yards. That's your game-winning field goal. Green Canyon is 4-0.
2A action. San Juan 3-0 taking on the 2-1 Summit Academy Bears in Bluffdale. First quarter, Parker Snyder on the keeper for San Juan. This is actually Bronson Dixon taking it in for the touchdown for Summit Academy. They were down 14-7 at that moment. A couple moments later, San Juan's Parker Snyder hits Zach Conway in stride for the 35-yard touchdown. And watch this. Snyder, somehow avoiding the rush, escapes and finds Javen Montella in the end zone. What an effort by Snyder. San Juan puts up 47 points to get the road win.
South Sevier and North San Pete had a double overtime thriller. No score in regulation, so South Sevier opens up in the first overtime with this. Anthony Cornelius. What a grab. High points it for the score. North San Pete answers, though, with a touchdown run, so we go to a second overtime where North San Pete's Preston Madsen picks off the pass in the end zone, and he is going to return this one all the way to the other end zone for the walk-off double overtime win. What a game. North San Pete's first win of the season.
I can't top that. Box Elder trying to remain undefeated at Northridge. Dax Sumko continues his monster season. Another big night. The Box Elder running back with 4 touchdowns. This one a 30-yard run to put the Bees up 20-0. He's going to run in another in the third quarter for 13 yards. You know, Box Elder doesn't pass often, but when they do, Ryan Griffin throws touchdowns. Damon Rodriguez with the score. The Bees are rolling. They win 42-12.
Emory hosting Manti. Manti comes out with a little razzle-dazzle. Pitchy-poo. It ends up back in the hands of quarterback Mason Starkweather, who tosses a 76-yard bomb to Reggie Frischneck. How about it? Manti's 3-1 with the big win. The highlight reel's coming up next.
More highlights from Friday night, Davis and Kearns. First quarter, a bad snap on the punt for Kearns, and it does not end well for the Cougars. Davis is going to get great field position, and they capitalize. Cash Gates is going to run it in from 6 yards out. Davis will get the road win, 27-7.
Ogden and Richfield. We'll go to the fourth quarter for this one. There's trouble for Ogden here. Jay Anderson picks the ball out of the air, and that's a 45-yard pick six, folks. The Wildcats with a 50-7 win. They are now 4-0.
All right, on to the next. We're going south for a Game Night Live Game of the Week. We can't wait for this one. A rematch of last year's 4A State Championship. A Region 9 clash between Crimson Cliffs and defending champ Desert Hills. Our first ever visit to Crimson Cliffs High School, 7 p.m. on the KSL Plus app. We'll see you on Friday.